they boom the market with coupons, with deals, and you can find it everywhere for
Mhm.
them to what? To make you and me motivated. I'm gonna use this offer. Once you launch a product that no one knows about it, you cannot put a target of 1 million user, for example. You have to take it slowly, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, and so on. Curiosity is the best soft skills in when you're gonna play product research, design, and so on. How you do the discovery, how you do research, how do you understand the market, what are the tactical things you do, what is the framework, how you do it.
Thank you very much, Abdullah, for being here. Much appreciated having you.
My
Th-
appreciation, Allah.
Thank you very much. I'd like to start off by asking that question. Is there something
Mm.
truly called uh, a product that is perfect, or there's no such a thing as a perfection when it comes to
Yeah.
products? Please.
First, thank you for having me in here. It's a pleasure. I always like to have a conversation with you. It's fun, wallah.
Thank you.
Speaking of a perfection, in this life, we don't have something called as a perfection,
Mhm.
but we always try to reach to that level where we call it a perfection, but then you have to go to the next. This is how I see it. For
Mhm.
example, the moment you graduated from your high school, the moment you walk, the kids, for example, the moment a kid says mom or father or whatever, so they think it's the perfect time. But once they reach that level, they know there is a next journey I have to take. Once we finish our, for example, once we got the certification of the university, the bachelor degree, for example, once you got your master degree, your first job, for example, when you were looking for your job, you wanted that job really hard, right?
Mm.
But once you get it, خلاص, I want to go to the next. So I want to do well in my job. So this is how I'm connecting the perfection to the product and the things that we want to build. Perfection exists for a moment, for a level, and then you have to go to the next.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, translating what you just said
Yeah.
into the product lingo, so to
Yes.
speak. So, when is it like from a product's journey starts,
Yeah.
from its baby steps, so to
Yeah.
speak, if you're allowed to use that kind of analogy?
Yeah.
And so, when do we say that this product has reached its perfection at this moment
Yes.
and needs to go to the next level? So, walk me through that journey, if you don't mind.
Great. So I'm pretty sure you've heard about minimum livable product, minimum MVP, and so on. It's the moment when you want to bring an idea. You're gonna build a prototype. You're gonna understand the market, understand the user, and so on. And then let's say you launch the product into the market. You think in the first, oh, I just launched the product into market. So we'll be looking at the numbers, how many user, how many, what is the adoption rate, what is the engagement, how many users they're gonna use it, and so on. But you have not reached the perfection, because the more you get user, the more you wanna do more, which comes the growth. For example, if you're gonna launch an e-commerce, let's assume. Once you get your first order, you're gonna get more. You want the next one. You want the third one, the fourth, the seventh, and so on. So the more you reach to your goal, your KPIs, because you're gonna put the KPIs. For example, I've launched a product. I want 10,000 user. So once you reach a 10,000 user, are you done? No, you wanna go to the next. So you're gonna keep developing. You're gonna add maybe a feature, maybe a journey, maybe a discount for you to reach the 20,000. Once you reach that one, you want to reach to the 30,000, because you're building a business. You're building, like you want to build profit, and so on. So
Mm,
this is how it goes.
mm.
You will have a milestone, you will have a KPIs, and each time once you reach that KPI, you want to do more.
Okay.
Yes.
If you allow me, I'd like you to just elaborate a bit
Yeah.
more when it comes to the KPI. So as you
Yeah.
mentioned now, when it comes to the MVPs,
Yes.
minimal valuable
Maybe
or
very product. Yeah.
valuable product, how do entrepreneurs,
Yeah.
developers, whatever, set a KPI that is, so to speak, just
Yeah.
do the product just. So for example, in some cases, you might put a KPI that is so huge
Yeah.
or difficult to attain,
Yes.
and you would feel that, okay, I haven't reached that goal. So when can a KPI when it comes to the product
Mm,
lingo itself can be attainable
mm.
or not really? It needs to be revised. What determines that?
So here it depends. For example, what kind of product you want to build? What is the market you want to enter? What is the industry? Are you going to a blue ocean? Are you going to a red ocean? Because you know, if you're gonna build a red ocean, which means your KPI gonna be high. For example, let's assume you want to build a food delivery app. It's tough, literally it's tough. You're gonna compete with sharks. So for you, you're gonna have really high is standard.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're gonna build, for example, let's assume a unique idea. Let's call it X, for example, and that X does not exist in the market, right? So which means your KPI gonna be really lower. But the issue you're gonna face, it's the learning curve with the customer. No, because if you're gonna build a food delivery app, the behavior exists in the market. So for you need to spend in doing the marketing, in doing growth, in convincing the customer that give up XYZ and come to me. If you're competing with the sharks in the red ocean. But if it was a blue ocean, for example, you're gonna have an issue for awareness. It's a unique idea. So how are you gonna bring a customer? How are you gonna have engagement? How are you gonna have adoption? And so on. So for you, we're gonna put a small KPI. Let's assume I wanna reach 10,000 users or maybe 1,000 user, maybe 100, because you have already done market research. You have understand the industry. You would know what is the total addressable market and so on. So for you, you will have a vision. Am I gonna do well in there or not? So it is you as a founder or like the one who's building the business and so on. You should know the market. I should be putting a milestone. For example, once you launch a product that no one knows about it, you cannot put a target of a million user, for example. You have to take it slowly, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, and so on. And of course, you will be having another metrics, for example, the engagement rate. If you're gonna do kind of digital marketing, let's say, is there like engagement? Is there interaction? Is the user clicking in your call to action in TikTok, for example, in Instagram, and they landing into your landing page? Once they land into your landing page, are they downloading the app? Are they interacting? So you're gonna follow all of the user journey and flow for you to understand, is the KPI that you put real or the logical? Did you over thought about it, or you have to reduce it a bit?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, going back to a point where you just mentioned when it comes to the red ocean versus blue ocean kind of a
Yeah.
thing. When it comes to that, so for example, you just mentioned right now in Saudi Arabia,
Yeah.
the food delivery app industry is
Yeah.
very, let's say, not just very competitive. It's like, as you mentioned, there are sharks there.
Yeah.
So whoever comes into this competition will face a lot of problems.
Yeah.
So at the same time, so do you suggest at that moment, if somebody, for example,
Mm.
somebody comes up and say, I want to do a food delivery app,
Yeah.
why does he have to, let's say, have a huge number of users at a
Mm.
certain time rather than a proof of concept
Yeah.
taking just a small share of the market? Why does he need to have a huge, let's say, KPI
Mm.
compared to the blue ocean kind of a thing?
Yeah. Because, for example, the new player who just entered the market,
Hmm.
like recently, let's say, whenever they enter the market, there is a model called the Combo B.
Combo,
Combo B.
combo.
COMB.
Okay,
Combo B. Combo B. It talks about how can you develop a behavior.
okay.
So, for you to develop any behavior, and trust me, honestly, like if you think about it, all of our life goes by this model. For you to develop a behavior, you need to have opportunity, capability, and motivation. So the new guy, once they enter the market, they already have the opportunity. The market is booming. There is a player, there is sharks, and they're doing fine. There is profit, and so on. And the which means opportunity check. The capability, he already has his app, whatever it is, and he just brought it to the market. So he localized the app. So what happened? Opportunity check, capability check, and then the motive. How can I convince whomever is using the other player in the market to switch from there to me? What did he do? What did they do? They boom the market with coupons, with deals, and you can find it everywhere. for them to what? To make you and me motivated. I'm gonna use this offer. And then what happened next? W- They will develop a behavior that you will give up XYZ for you to use them. And that's exactly what happened.
Now, the other point that
Yeah,
anyone might come up with is that yes, this might happen, but at the same time, it will not be sustainable.
exactly. Because you are dealing with the behavior. So who's gonna play this game? But by developing the motivation for you to always be using them. Let's take an example of a digital wallet, for example.
Mhm,
Digital wallet you could consider one of the competing or the booming industry now.
mhm,
There is a company that they develop this kind of approach, like I would call it a growth hacking strategy, whatever. So each weekend they will give you 5% cashback,
mhm,
which means what? Which means don't use me, I don't care. But in the weekend, if you come to me, you will be getting 5% cashback, which means what? They have opportunity, they have capability, and the motivation for the customer to give up whatever wallet they're gonna use and come to use me in the weekend when we're gonna go have fun, go hang out with friends and so on to get the 5% cashback.
mhm,
And believe it or not, every weekend you will see if you look at their market, because I've worked in some digital wallet. So that weekend, all the digital wallet get dropped and these guys get really high because
mhm.
they develop the behavior.
Okay.
So this is how you can you control the
Mhm,
market. What is the behavior you want to drive and check like how can you really move it because you want to develop it.
mhm,
And the motivation is the key because we're talking about a red ocean. Red ocean, which means the opportunity is there, the product there. But how can you be the smartest shark, I would say,
mhm,
in the ocean for you to change the behavior?
mhm,
Because once that behavior gets changed, they will go to the normal behavior, I would say. But if they had a pleasant experience when they're using your product in the weekend, let's assume, or after using a coupon or whatever, they will be coming to you again and again, which lead us to the habit moment.
mhm,
Because we need to develop a habit. For
mhm,
example, whenever you want to order food, there is one app will come up into your mind. I will use that app, but if a friend or somehow you look at the social media, whatever, you find a coupon, you might change. But eventually you want to go to the original one.
mhm,
You got it? So the habit moment, we would say.
mhm. Now, I want to go back to a certain point that just like you emphasized on multiple times,
Yeah.
which is the behavior aspect.
Yeah.
Now, as a product development director, I'd like you just to take me back from the beginning when you start researching
Mm,
your end consumer as a
mm,
product developer. What kind of tools do you use? How do you do it? Are there any tests you
mm,
use, tools you use for you to say this is the kind of behavior that I want to change, or this is the kind of
mm,
behavior that I want to play on, so
mm.
that I develop a product that, as you mentioned, reaches to a point. At the
Yeah.
end point, reaches to a point of the habit.
Yeah.
So could you please take me through that journey, if
Yes,
you
of
don't mind?
course, of course. So that will take me back to my first days since I start understanding the what is product, what is UX, and so on. I don't know if I mentioned it. I've got my bachelor degree, my master in USA.
Mhm,
So when I was in USA, 2012, I believe, or 13, I got my first internship as a UX researcher.
mhm,
So in UX researcher, user experience researcher, we do research about the customer, the user.
okay,
We want to develop XYZ, but what is the customer wants, for example.
mhm,
But as you know now, what I do believe, to be honest with you, after around 13 or 14 years in this field, uh, sometimes the customer doesn't know what they want. For real, yeah. Even I think one of the Apple guys, he was saying that
I
because
think Steve Jobs, I believe
Steve
he
Jobs,
said.
I think, or Tim, I'm not sure. Because what we believe, customer, you have to tell them what they want, but how? You
Mhm,
have to understand the behavior, the needs, the market, the data that you have in your whatever, like let's assume dashboard, like clicks and so on. That will tell you an insight.
mhm,
And from this insight, you will find the pattern that you really need to focus on.
Mhm.
and then for you to develop, to enhance, and so on. For example, if you look at a dashboard and you will find one place there is job that is always happening, let's say 60%, 50%, 70%, when the customer reach to that point, they just give up and they drop, which means then there is an issue. Of course, then you can go and do some kind of a user interview, a survey, a product analytics. You need to understand what is the pain point over there. And
Mhm.
if you're gonna go and tell the customer why are you dropping from there, you're not gonna get the answer. Of course, you
Mhm.
have to really distract the answer from this. So that's what I learned. Like whenever you wanna build feature, product, whatever, it's not just about building feature or building the product. It's for you to develop the behavior that you wanna reach or take the customer from X to Z. That's the thing you need to focus on. And then I started to know what is product management, how you build it, what is the need, how you make profit. It's a business side, it's a product side, it's a strategic side, a tech side, and so on.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Going back to the point you just mentioned that the customer doesn't really know what they
yeah,
need. So so okay, then if that's the case,
yeah.
then why are we doing research when it comes to products or user experience? If that's the thing. So
Mm,
what's the reason of research? Since I know like from the get-go that
yeah.
for a large percentage,
Mm.
the customer doesn't really know what they need. And once I deliver something innovative, new, with time, people will adapt. So how do you counter that, if you don't mind?
Yes, of course. For example, have you ever thought about something called reels?
Reels.
Reels,
Yeah,
like
Instagram Reels
Instagram, yeah.
and YouTube. Yes, YouTube
We didn't,
Shorts.
yeah, we didn't even know. Did we even think about you sit down in your office or your like living room, whatever, and you just stream movie after movie after movie after movie? We did not. So somebody was innovative and he come up with all of this idea. By how? By maybe looking at a behavior, looking at what kind of business I want to take it. How can I be innovative? Why they are calling digital transformation, for example.
Mhm.
For example, there is now these, جمعية, for example, where
Mhm.
a bunch of guys gather together and they say, I want to pay this month, and then they pay the next month
Yes.
and so on. So there are some company now have developed a digitalized
Experience.
experience
Mhm.
for that. Did the customer know? Once we introduced or they introduced this product into the market, people came in. We didn't hear somebody say, guys, why didn't you build XYZ? You might find, but who built it? So
Mhm.
they saw the needs and they digitalized the experience into that needs.
Mhm.
We were just mentioning now before we start the conversation, like now people are developing business on the top of a business. Why? Like nobody has told us that. But we know there is an issue with the guy who's receiving order from many food delivery app, let's assume. So why not I take this headache and put it in one app, which is doable.
Mhm.
Because the end user, whomever is receiving that order, I'm solving an issue for him, which lead us to what are the issue we're trying to solve. If there is an issue, a problem that I'm bringing to the customer, and then I bring the solution to them, that they will use it, of course. A Reels, you're gonna tell me it is not an issue, but it's a pleasure issue, right?
Mhm.
We used to watch YouTube, and it takes you around 15 minutes, or a movie, or like it takes you too much time. But Reels now, why I love it? Because sometimes when we are waiting for 1 minute or 2 minutes, just waiting for a friend, you will open your app, go to the Reels, and you're just gonna scroll. So
Mhm.
you're killing the time by watching the Reels. So if you think about it from a behavior per- perspective, you cannot watch a movie in 2 minutes, or you cannot watch a YouTube like a video in 2 minutes, but you could watch a Reels, right?
Mhm.
You could read تغريدة, tweets, whatever. So that's how they are doing the changing the behavior, I would say. How can I inject some product, some feature into your daily life that it will become a habit for you?
Mhm.
I'm assuming each one of us, I don't know if about you, but for me, at least I do. Each time I get up from my bed, the first thing I check my WhatsApp, my emails, right? Yes. So this is a behavior. It got developed.
Mhm.
Did we even know that we need it? No. But once it became part of our life, now we always need that,
Okay.
right?
Now, if we go back, let's say in history, though, tapping into the point that you just mentioned,
Mm,
which is the being innovative and presenting a new product to the people.
yeah,
If we go back throughout the history of product development,
yeah,
a lot of cases what happens is a product is presented, but they always say it's ahead of its time.
mm,
The timing is the issue. So
yeah,
you present a product, it fails. Another product after 5 years comes in with the same idea and it succeeds.
yeah,
It's a success because of the timing
yeah,
issue. And even when it comes to multiple things, even locally here in Saudi
yeah.
Arabia, we have some case studies. So could you please just give me kind of an overview
Mm,
why this ahead of its time issue happens and how should let's say anyone who deals that kind of issue deals with it
yeah.
in a good way that he crosses that line.
Yes. Let me give you an example. I think it was 2001, I mean 2021 or 2020. I've attended an AI summit here in Riyadh.
Mhm,
Uh, it was about AI company and stuff like that. So the people who came and they were presenting their innovative idea about AI, stuff
mhm,
like that, there was really a crazy idea. For example, a lady was showing an innovative tech where she draw whatever she wants, and the AI thinks will reverse that draw, which is great. Like you are drawing X, she will be drawing the reverse X.
so for example if I'm drawing a man, is he gonna like draw a woman
No, she's
something?
gonna draw a reverse man. For example, if you're gonna write four, the machine will write the opposite of four. So you will find the reverse art.
Kind of a mirroring issue.
Yes,
No,
mirroring, but in the opposite way.
okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
which is great.
Okay.
Like understanding the logic behind it, maybe I wouldn't even understand it. I wouldn't even care. But when I saw the result, I got hooked about what is that?
Okay.
Because it was an art. It was fun. It was easy to be understood by the customer, by the audience.
Mhm.
We love it. But there are some other people who came. They were speaking too technical. Like we were not really mature, or at least the audience were not really mature about what kind of AI they're talking about. AI, machine learning, has been around for a long time. But once ChatGPT has been introduced, now everyone is a master of an AI. Why? Because it's easy to be used. Like you're just gonna write some wording and it will give you that. So that's the level, I would say, when you say like should we introduce the product now? Should we introduce it later? It's about how do you introduce the product, and if the customer interact with it, would they understand the value? Is
Mhm.
it needed now? So when AI was introduced as the simplest as GPT, people really understand the value, which means I write whatever I want and it will give me the answer. So using that product, it was really easy. And of course, uh, other things. Let's talk about meditation, about yoga, for example, about breathing. If you're gonna introduce this kind of product in a place where they do not practice meditation, they wouldn't care, would they?
Mhm.
Right? You're gonna tell them I have the best app about meditation, come and do yoga, do stuff like that. But in the community, you're telling the people, go and use it, they wouldn't care. Like
Mhm.
Calm, the founder of Calm, why did he
Come,
develop Calm?
what's this app?
It's about meditation. You listen to whatever
Yeah.
and you just calm yourself to reduce anxiety,
Okay.
to sleep better, and so on.
Like a listen app, or you have
Yeah,
lessons and
you
okay.
listen about it.
So CAM or something?
Kind of, yeah.
Uh,
Like, for example, if you wanna do
it's not sponsored, right?
no, no,
It's not
it's not, it's
sponsored.
not, it's not sponsored. Yeah,
This
like
guy.
this guy. The reason he said, according to the founder, forgot his name, Allah.
Mhm.
He said like because he built so many like company before, and what he said, I reached to a place where I always get stress, I have anxiety.
Okay.
I didn't know how can I calm myself. And then his co-founder told him, why not we try yoga? Why not we try meditation? Why not we try this kind of things that would let us really be calm?
Okay. So
And
it was a new idea for him.
yes, it was a new idea. He didn't
Okay.
know because he's a business guy,
Okay.
which means he is always stressed out. He's always busy. He
Yes.
has anxiety and so on. So he said, I tried meditation, and bloody, it was amazing. I felt great. Then it was his mission, according to him. I need to introduce this to the world.
Changing it to a business idea.
Yes,
Okay.
and now we have come, and it's one of the good apps in the industry for the meditation part. I believe in 7 years or 6 years they become around a billion plus company worth.
So they became a unicorn.
Unicorn, yes.
Okay.
And see, if he introduced it at that moment, he wouldn't really understand the value because he didn't see the pain. He didn't know what is the issue. So if you bring, going back to the question, if I bring a product to a place where they don't see the issue yet, they have no idea, why do I need this product? Why do I need this feature? They wouldn't use it. But you have to show them the pain. You have to show them why you need X, Y, Z. Then they will get hooked by the product or the feature.
Okay.
And this guy now, from a business guy who's always stressed out, to a guy sending a message to the world, let's do meditation.
And still doing business.
Yeah, and still do business. And a great business too.
Here's a point where I'd like to hear your,
Yeah.
let's say, comment on that. So when it comes to a product developer, so I'm
Yeah.
the one who's developing the product, I'm the one who has the idea.
Yeah.
So does that mean that it would add more value if I'm the one who was truly facing the issue? So going back to your story, where
Mm.
the guy himself, the co-founder,
Mm.
I've been through that issue.
Mm.
I'm truly faced that issue, and I came up with a solution that fits the people who had the same issue. Would he have like an advantage compared to someone? Okay, I haven't been through the issue, but
Mm.
I believe there's a need. Taking like a straight businessman.
Yeah.
So would that add a value more than that?
Yes, of course. I would say, speaking of, if you go back, I have a book. It calls a Product to Perfect.
Mhm.
I wrote about the research part, like how can you do a research, what kind of research you need to understand the market and so on. There is I have a three pillar what I wrote. It's a strategic one. That's the first research you should do, and then a product discovery. And of course, there is the tactical research where you can make sure the product is doing well. You do some kind of usability testing and so on. So when you tell me if a founder he saw a pain point and he really want to build a feature or a product, I'm assuming he is already doing the strategic one and the product did discovery wise, because he knows this is an issue. And what they say, the difference between a founder and not a founder, guys, or whatever, a founder, he found an issue and he built a solution for that. But for him or for her to reach to build a product or feature, they of course they look at the market, they search about the needs and so on. So there are so many people that they have seen issue or they have lived a pain point where they wanted to bring a product or so. There is a app called Milka, I believe. I don't know if you know
No.
Milka.
What's this app?
It's a matching app. Zawaj, yeah, which is good actually. The founder is Saudi.
Yeah.
What I got really hooked about
What's the name again?
Rayyan.
Yeah, Ryan Hassoun. Yeah,
You know the guy?
Ryan Hassoun.
Amazing guy. Like
Yes,
the,
Hassan.
that guy, like literally when he built like his app, he lived the pain. And this is
Yeah.
this is the reason he said I built the app.
Mhm.
That's great. And I'm really rooting for the guy because he's living the pain. I believe Tamara, I believe, I'm not sure. I saw one podcast for the guy,
Tamara, yes.
and he said like he used to go to his supermarket or biqala next to his house, whatever, and he tell the guy, "You write it in the paper," which we all did before, I believe.
Mhm.
So he saw that pain point, or he saw how difficult it is to track it and so on. It was not pain; it was an issue. So he wanted to come up with Tamara. You're gonna tell me the solution exists somewhere else in the world, but the guy has built it here in Saudi.
Mhm.
So this is how I see, like the founder or the people who want to build a product, they have the vision,
Mhm.
because you really have to have the vision. What is the product you want to build? What is the product vision? Because once you have the product vision over there, you will be like linking it to the business vision. Am I gonna bring profit? Am I gonna bring business? Is there needs in there? You might have a great vision, a product vision that's gonna be rocket to the sky and so on, but there's no need. The industry still does not really want it. So
Mhm.
then you need to link the product vision with the business vision, and of course the user, would they need it or not?
Mhm. Now, of course, we're going to talk about perfect product in a short notice,
Yeah.
but going back to the pillars of research that you mentioned, because again, it's about connecting with the people, one
Yes.
way or the other. So you said strategic,
Yeah.
and the second one is
Product discovery.
product discovery, and
Yeah.
lastly, tactical.
Tactical research. Yeah.
So I'm going to go back to the tactical, but let's
Mm.
go back a bit to it comes to the strategy itself.
Yeah.
So when it comes to that, is it about the characteristic of the founder himself? So are there certain characteristics for a founder so that he has that kind of strategic
Mm.
research pillar? So could you please elaborate more on that, if
Yes.
you don't mind?
So when you say about doing strategic research, you could do so many things. For example, you could do a benchmark.
Mm-hmm.
You could do market research, or you could do a massive survey to understand the needs. Or you could do, of course, like a user interview, where you're gonna really not a qualitative one, a quantitative one. You
Mm-hmm.
will go understand the shift of the market, what is the need, and so on. I'm pretty sure the new player who entered the industry, the Saudi market for the food delivery app, they did
They
the
all,
yeah, the yellow app. There you go. That's even better, huh? So so they did the market research, and they understand the total addressable market and how much marketing they have to burn the user.
Mm.
And then if it was a new product, then you have to really have to look at the pain point, the issue. So there are so many ways for you to do a strategic one.
Mhm.
And then once you discover, I want to build X, for example,
Mm.
I want to build Y.
Now going to the product discovery.
Exactly.
Okay.
So then you really understand the experience. What are the product that already exist in the market? Let's assume I want to build the next best Netflix, for example. There is Shahid, for example. There is Netflix. There is a Crunchbase. There is. So what can I build to make me different from all of these?
Mhm.
So you need to dig in.
So now talk about the features, what needs to be.
Exactly.
Okay.
Like you really have to. How can I be better than Netflix, for example?
Mhm.
How can I be better than Jahid, for example?
Mhm.
Because they are considered almost the same industry, the same business model, the same experience. You stream video, movie, and so on. What makes you a different? Because you've done the strategic one, and now you're going deeper. Because then you're gonna develop. You will understand. I'll bring X. I'll bring Y. This feature is needed. This feature is not, and so on. Once you develop all of that, you reach to the prototype stage, you have an MVP, you have whatever. So at least you have something you can go and do some kind of a tactical research.
Mhm.
Because the tactical research, it could happen before you go to the market or after you go to the market itself.
Mhm.
Can you tell me how? Once you have a Figma file, for example, as a prototype, you just take it and do some kind of testing. Or you can run a 5-second test, or you can run, for example, the first click test. All of that, it will give you some understanding. Is your product will be a differentiator in the market or not?
Mhm.
Or if you're really excited, you said like, I believe in the product, which all the founder does, to be honest with you. They will just launch it into the market. They will test the needs,
The reaction of the
the
people.
reaction of it, which
Okay.
means they will be collecting a real data, which I think it's even always a better, because if you have a product ready to go, just push it. You're not going to lose anything.
Mm.
And then once you collect all of this data, and then you will keep iterating, enhancing as you go.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Now, I want to go back to the research aspect on
Yeah.
this point. Then we'll go to the
Mm.
next point. Throughout your experience, those
Yeah.
10 to 15 years of experience,
Yeah.
you've done a lot of research,
Yeah.
I believe, with people. What was the most effective technique
Mm.
to get the right answer? So I believe there are, like, example, group discussions.
Yeah.
You go ask people like in the open. You go to a certain place. What do you think of this? What do you think of that?
Mm.
Or you schedule an appointment where you
Yeah.
put people in group discussion and you try to understand. And you are in a backstage. There are multiple ways. I believe even some research companies
Mm.
they specialize on this perspective. I want to from a product development perspective,
Mm,
from a digital, specifically from a digital perspective.
yeah.
Which of these methods
Mm,
gets you the I would say the most precise
yeah.
or accurate answers that you can build upon any assumptions, anything that helps the app to go from A to A plus, for example.
Yeah. See, in that part, the first time I was doing some kind of research in some of the company I work at, they were telling me like research takes time. You want to do the academic part of it and so on. So they didn't believe in it. So what I told them, guys, we're not doing an academic one. We're doing some kind of a product research or a discovery research to enhance the product we want to build. This is a real story, by the
Mm.
way. So the best practice you do is for you to merge between the quantitative one and the qualitative one. But how? There are so many methods you could do.
Mm.
For me زي ما يقولوا as we say في المكاوي أعطينا الزبد, yeah, like you go straight to the point. So what we did, we first launched a massive survey, which is the easiest one. Because if you have an app, you have access to the customer. If you have an active user, which is you always gonna have, that's if you wanna do a tactical research to enhance a product that already exists for you, or even if you wanna build a new feature. So you launch a massive survey, you get around 2,000, 5,000, 8,000. The more, the better, of course.
Mm.
For you to focus in a feature itself or a product itself. So once you get all of this insight, you're gonna do some kind of analysis, understanding, and so on. It will take you maybe 3 days or 4 days the most, because you're gonna write the question in one day. You're gonna launch it in 2 days. You already have a good customer base, and then you're gonna get all of this insight. From this insight, now you collected a quantitative one. If you want to run some of user interview, it will be a good one, answering the insight that you got from the survey itself. So now you included the qualitative one, and then there are some tools that you can develop a prototype, and then you send it to the customer, and they click a link. It will open up for them, like a maze, for example, or like a QuantUX, for example. These are really good tools to use in the market, where the customer will see a prototype or a feature that you want to develop, and you take them into the journey. The practice they always do, they tell you, go and sit down, do a moderated usability testing. But for me, this will take too much time.
What's that? Can you please elaborate? What's a moderated session?
Moderated usability testing, you sit down with the user. For example, you and I bring a laptop, I bring a prototype or a feature or whatever I want to build. I tell you, please, you perform the task.
Okay.
Yes. For example, you want to order, you wanna buy something from X.
Okay.
So I give you a journey, I give you a task, I tell you do XYZ, and then I watch you.
So kind of observing what.
Observing, yeah.
Okay.
You're gonna observe the customer.
Okay.
So some people really focus in observing the behavior, the body language, the eye contact, and so on. If you go to the real business, you wanna see, did they finish the task or not?
It's about
That's
the end result.
Yes, the end result. If I want them to order food, for example, how long it took them to order the food? What was the distraction for the customer? Was it easy for them to understand the journey from A to B to Z to X and so on? So, but the moderated usability testing, it takes time, because you really have to invite a guy or a customer, and then you sit down with them and you will take them, and you're gonna take a note. For me, it's a good practice, but I wouldn't always do it unless if it was really a big one, a big feature, and you have the budget, of course.
Mhm.
A better practice, you do the unmoderated one, where you have the same link as you send the survey in the beginning, and then you collected the information, what they want, what they prefer, and so on. So you come up with an hypothesis that you want to do,
Okay.
and then you take this link and you shoot it again into the customer, and then rather than seeing questions, they will see the design itself, and then they're gonna perform, try to do it, and so on. Meanwhile, in the system like QuantUX or Mez or whatever, it will collect a quantitative the data for you, where the
Okay.
customer click, how they do it, what was the issue, did they
Mhm.
understand it? Because you're gonna see heat map, flow, and
Yes.
so on.
Mhm.
We did this for one of the company I built, and we enhanced a full journey, and that journey now, or that product now, has around 10 million customer user, bringing 2 billion profit yearly,
MashaAllah.
and it
Nice.
became a benchmark around Europe and Middle East and Asia.
Wow.
That's exactly what I did.
Okay.
Yeah,
Now you said something. For that, I don't want to get too technical, but you
yeah,
just said something, and I want you just to, let's say, point something out. I'd
yep,
like you to point something out if there is
yeah,
a point that needs to be pointed out, which is especially when it comes to surveys.
yeah,
So, what are, let's say, practices that you've seen throughout your
mm,
journey or career that you feel it's wrong that you put in a survey? Like,
mm,
what are the best practices when it comes to, to surveys
mm,
or not? When it comes to product development,
yeah,
especially, like kind of a do's and don'ts.
yeah.
Could you please just elaborate more on that?
I'm not a big fan of survey, but by the way, I kind of hate it, to be honest, but it's
Mm,
the easiest way for you to get insight.
mhm,
Because whenever you're gonna send a survey, you don't know what this guy is doing. Is he drinking coffee? Is he having a podcast right now? So is he just giving you an answer that you wouldn't rely on? So the getting this insight from a customer for you to build a business, for you to, for example, to put a faith on, and you're gonna bring X Y profit, me meeting your KPIs and so on. It's kind of always, I doubt it,
mm,
but we have to do it due to the time constraint. You want to push and so on, which is why you need to like prove it with a product analytics from your data, or a phone call.
mm,
Sometimes
mhm,
we do, or there are so many other things like a 5 second test, first click, and so on. But a survey always the quickest way for you to get what is happening in your product, in the market, and so on. And you see there are a lot of consulting company,
mhm,
they rely on the survey like 100%, I would say, or 90%.
mhm,
But these guys, they bring thousand of respond.
mm,
So the more you get to respond, the more you can see the curve, and so on.
mhm.
But survey, it's a good way of getting insight.
So, from that point on,
Yeah,
as you mentioned, now you gather all that data,
yeah,
these insights, these different methodologies, and so on
yeah,
and so forth. And now you want to get into this product.
yeah,
Before that, I believe there's that kind of process or methodology
yeah.
that I believe you went through the research in
Yes.
your book that you authored, you co-authoring with Dr.
Shiva.
Oshiva.
Shiva Kumar, yeah.
So could you please just give me that kind of background? Why, in the first place, did you did you write that book, and what is the process that you found the best practice
Yeah.
to commence when it comes to that to product development specifically?
Of course. So the moment I start working in this industry, the product management, user experience, UX, building product features, experience, and so on. Of course, it was not really known, I would say, in the Middle East, here in Saudi, Dubai. I'm talking about 2012, 2013, when I was in USA.
If I may,
Yeah.
just a quick question: what was the scene of product development in Saudi Arabia? If you know, was there a scene when it comes to when you say product development? Was the terminology well known here at that time, or it wasn't really used?
No, actually, I spoke with some guys, friend, like my cousins, for example. They didn't really understand. So they were saying like IT, you mean? Business analyst, you mean? But there are some people who knows, for example, like they are in the industry, they're watching the like the update and so on. But the terms was not really known. I would say 6 years back or 7 years back, people started to know.
Mhm,
In fact, the moment I came back from USA around 2021 or so, I work with the company, and there was a guy. I was speaking with him. I'm gonna say his name. Amin Fadl, one of the best, by the way. Uh,
So what's to I mean? Okay.
yes, he has to see this one. Huh? Okay. Uh, I was speaking with the guy. I told him like we brought the UX research terms, and he told me, Abdullah, this does not exist here in the market. Why not we develop it and we start working on it? Alhamdulillah, we built it in the company that we work at, and we developed the team.
Mhm,
So a product team, research, design, and so on. It
mhm.
was funny because like he told me like the market still doesn't know what is UX research, or what do you mean by, why do you want to go and research the customer, for God's sake?
Okay.
So we design, we build product, and so on. So
Yeah.
2000, going back, go ahead.
Yeah, well, just want to point out, is
Yeah,
it true because in some industries,
yeah.
even correct me if I'm wrong, when it comes to product development, is it true that companies don't want to spend a lot when it comes to research?
Yeah, of course, because they think you are an academic one. You want to just go and say theoretical stuff, and that's it.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, which was a way for me to really like understand if I want to do research or build product based on user research,
Mhm.
management, and so on. It has to be a quick and fast.
Okay.
You have to bring like a result. See, like when I told you about the example, it will take you 1 week or at least 2 weeks, and you have the result in. You hand it over to the design,
Mhm,
and they have to develop it. Because what I understood, for example, different between product mindset in USA or here once I came to Saudi or Dubai, uh, for you to build product, you have to act like a researcher. You have to act like a guy who understands the market. But here in Saudi, the first thing I saw, you're a product, you just have to get things done. But how are you going to get it done? You need to understand the market. You need to understand the customer. So you have to go and understand who are you building for. But
mhm,
somehow it comes, I love this idea, I want to do it.
mhm,
So that's the thing I understand. Like you really have to have a product discovery, which going back to your question, why did I author the book and so on? Because when I started to get deeper into the product management, it's a skills that you have to understand: product marketing, design, tech, research, product management itself. So there are so many skills you have to learn. And for you to really understand it, you have to go to the research industry and take some courses, get yourself like some reading and understand it. And then you go to the design, UX design, design journey, UX, UI, and so on. And then you go to the product management, how you do the roadmap, how can you build the feature, what is the OKRs, and so on. And if you want to grow it, like literally grow your product, you have to understand what is the product analytics, what is product growth, what is product marketing. So it was a chaos. So
mhm,
then I started to like realize, why not you have a one book that will tell you the full story from A to B to C to D until you launch the product, for you to reach the perfection that we spoke in the beginning,
mhm,
to go to the next step,
mhm,
which is exactly what we did in the book. We develop a framework. We call it a P2P framework, which is product to perfect framework,
mhm,
which still tells you from the starting point how you do the discovery, how you do research, how do you understand the market, what are the tactical things you do, what is the framework, how you do it. Like we always say, like I did user interview, but what did you do exactly? What was the insight? What was the recommendation you got? What is the outcome? Was it an actionable one? Or you just send the report and nobody took an action? That's an issue in the industry. We have some researcher, they come up with an amazing recommendation, but the product managers, the tech leads, they do not take an action because it was not really co- co- convincing, or the way they deliver it to the team, it was not in the right call, or it did not serve the OKRs, it did not serve the vision itself. So a full chapter about how you do the discovery and so on, and then it goes to the design, how you do the design, how can you make sure the design is doing well, how you do usability testing, how you make sure it's a good one. You use a super queue, for example. You use a assist, for example. How can you make sure whatever you're building in terms of design fitting the market and the customer you want to build for? And of course, then it goes to the delivery. Like, what is how you gonna do it? How you gonna communicate with the tech lead, sprint wise, the 4C, and so on. So the technical part of it, which I'm not really good at, to be honest with you. Yes. And then once you develop all of that, you have the product or the feature are ready to be shipped to the market itself. But are you gonna stop there? No, you have to really watch the metrics, the KPIs you mentioned in the beginning. Are you meeting the target, or you just wasted a month, 2 months developing, searching, doing design, and it went to the market and it's not doing that good? That chapter will tell you how can you make sure your product is doing well, how your product is trying to reach to the perfection you wanted it in the beginning. Do you need to enhance? Do you need to reiterate, or do you need to do some kind of marketing and so on? You use an A/B testing, for example. So all of this you will find it in this, like the book I authored, for me to make it easier for whomever want to enter the industry to know the full story. And by the way, one of the the vision I had, like I really wanted to write it in Arabic, and it's available Arabic and in English.
Mhm.
Yes, because one thing I hated when I started working in this industry, any course you take about product management or UX or whatever, they tell you you are the what? The mini CEO of the product itself.
Mm.
So you're telling the guy, build this product, and you have the power of a CEO, and he comes, he thinks he's the right, which is wrong. A
Mm.
product guy, the most needed skills is how you how you do the communication, how you understand the market. So they come with this kind of mindset. I am the mini CEO. I have to tell people, do whatever I think is right. If he has the vision, which is good. So how can you tell them this is not how it works? It's a communication skills with the marketing, with the business, with the strategic team, and so on.
It's about finding that connection between all of these together. He has to be involved in
Exactly.
all. I'm gonna get back to that point, and
Yeah.
now going back to the product to perfect
Yeah.
methodology that you just mentioned, there's a point that I would like you to give me examples of elaboration about.
Yeah.
So you're saying we have going back to the research
Yeah.
aspect, if we could try to understand the people themselves.
Yeah.
There are good UX researchers out there.
Mm.
They do amazing work.
Yes.
They present, and no action is taken.
Mm.
You just said that it's about the maybe the delivery itself, the
Mm.
insight they built is not very solid. So could you please elaborate more? What are the good and bad practices to that? How okay, what should a researcher do or say that say, okay, guys, this is how we should do it, and this is my
Yeah.
honest and solid recommendation.
Yeah.
Versus another recommendation where okay, this is my recommendation, and they might look at it and say, no, this is not applicable. We should not do that.
Mm.
So how does this work?
So in terms of building a report or recommendation, or like any kind of recommendation to enhance a product or so, it always comes to the first, the communication with your stakeholder, which is gonna be the product manager, the tech lead, or the EM, engineering manager, and of course the designer. But the first question, why are we doing the research itself? Is it to build a feature? Is it to enhance? Is it to make sure we're having issue? Because if it says we're having issue, which means there is a product analytics guy who's gonna tell us we have a job in this part.
Mhm,
So then the researcher comes, they will try to discover more, dig deeper into this issue.
mhm,
And when they dig deeper with this issue, they will find the what they should enhance, or what they should develop, and so on. Before taking in action, what I would do, what I used to do, I align with the PMs, with myself, if I was playing the part of research, with the design himself, or the product analytics, and of course with the leadership. We want to do X, Y, Z. Because what I saw when I was managing kind of a researcher team, The research team, they like to play in their world, which is not how it should be. You are part of the squad, part of the team. The team should come to you when they have an issue. If you develop this culture or this mindset, whenever a PMs or an EM or a design or a product analyst analytics, think there is an issue with the customer or with the user, they will come to the researcher. And then whenever they develop or they deliver a recommendation that should really serves the issue, which already has been aligned. But the issue sometimes the researcher does not really go deeper. You really have to go deeper, understand the flow, empower the research itself with evidence, either a qualitative one, a quantitative one, a flow, a clicks, and so on. For them, whenever they see it, they will take an action. And of course, if you bring numbers, people will be convinced.
Hmm.
So that's how we should see it. Like bring numbers, align with the team for you to make sure whatever you're gonna bring into the table, it will be taken an action on.
Okay, so it's more about bringing more evidence, be it
Yes,
either like numerical or statistical or whatever it is that helps helps the people who have the final say to make that kind of decision, one way
yes.
or the other.
And of course,
Hmm.
whenever you're gonna bring a recommendation, what would happen? Like you need to have an assumption. I'm gonna change this from blue to red. So
Hmm.
why? Why I'm gonna change it? Is it because the customer didn't like the red, or
Hmm.
are you just assuming that they will like it? So,
Okay.
but how can we make sure before we take it to the development? You could send a 5 second test. It wouldn't take much time. This is the red one. This is the blue one. Send a survey and see the
Which one do you
reaction.
prefer?
Yeah, see the reaction. And when you're gonna bring it, this is the evidence, guys. You should take it. So it's really a simple one. But us looking at it, a research, we think it's tough one. So
Hmm.
we're just talking about research. We didn't go to the product. We didn't go to the design.
Hmm.
Got it?
Okay,
Yeah.
which we're gonna get into that.
Yeah.
But now go back to a point we just mentioned when it comes to the product manager. He's the kind of the mini CEO
Yeah.
when he has the
Okay.
final say when it comes to
Yeah.
that. Now, and you said one of the things that one of or the main characteristic it
Yeah.
needs to be that he's good with communication and aligning with people. So you
Yeah.
have top management, you have the
Yeah.
teams, different stakeholders. What other characteristics
Mm.
that you believe a product manager should have for him to be able to communicate with these people?
Mm.
What are they?
So I always say curiosity is the best soft skills in when you're gonna play product research, design, and so on.
Curiosity.
Curiosity, because
Okay.
if you are curious about something, you're gonna dig deeper. You will understand how can you make it right, how can you make it the best. Because when you are curious about X, Y, Z, you wanna develop, you wanna lead, you wanna enhance, and so on.
Mhm.
And of course, the communication skills, because you as a PMs, you will be leading people. That's if we're speaking with the industry language, they are not reporting to you, which means you do not have the power to tell them do X, Y, Z. So
Correct.
how can you influence these guys?
Mhm.
How can you tell the design X, Y, Z for us to reach the point A, for example? How can you tell the product analytics guy, let's do some digging, let's understand the numbers for us to enhance? So if you don't have the communication, how can you influence people without having the authority? That's the first thing you have to do.
How do you do
You
it?
you have to
Mm.
know how you do the
Mhm.
soft skills. You have to speak with numbers. Never lie.
Mhm.
If you're gonna show numbers, for example, this is what is happening. This is how we did it, and then people will get convinced. But
Mm.
some people say, I believe in my guts." I agree with you. Maybe you're an expert, but you are with the team. They're not gonna say, "I believe in my guts," right? So you have to show evidence. You have to tell the market. You have to understand how can you communicate, because this is the first step you need to do. Like influence people, try to invite him to your world. That's what I say. For example, a technical guy wouldn't understand the business that much. So a PM's, a product guy, has to tell them what is the market, what is the business, what are we trying to do. Communicate your product vision, because if you communicate the product vision, people will see it. They might not see the big picture you have,
Mm,
but they will see the North Star. They see
mm,
what are you trying to do. As they say, let them buy your case. خليهم يشتروا القضية, right? For them to believe in it.
mhm.
So that's what you should do.
Okay. Now you mentioned point, and I'd like to ask you: have you ever been through that case? Has there ever been a case where you yourself, as Abdullah,
Mm.
wanted to go with your guts, but the number said something else, or you went with your guts regardless?
Yeah. See, this is a tough one, I think.
Okay, please.
But for me, as a guy who started as a researcher, that's the first internship I got. I always believed numbers always the powerful tools you used. And I always like to back my things with the numbers, with
Data.
data, and so on. I wouldn't say there are some time I took an action without looking at least some dashboard or
Mhm,
some numbers, or at least, as I mentioned, just send a survey
mhm.
just to prove a point.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but of course, for example, the book, I would say,
Mhm.
we wrote the book in a matter of 4 months, I think, or 3 months. We just know it. We believe in our guts.
Okay.
So we didn't have, I didn't search the market, who's gonna buy it. Do you like it? I didn't do anything. I just opened the word and start writing whatever I want. Because that was a vision since 2018. I wanted to write a book, and I just believe in it.
What was the feedback when you first came up with the book?
It was great, actually. In the matter of 1 month, we sold around 2,000 plus, which
MashaAllah.
is good, actually.
Mhm,
It is in Jarir now too.
mhm,
Each one they've read it, they like the way we back our things again with numbers, with case study that already in the market
mhm.
itself, which is great.
Okay.
Because I didn't want to just develop, because we develop a framework, which
Mhm,
is good, like how you build product from A to B to
mhm,
C to D. But we just didn't say it like this how you should do it. No, you should do it because this company did this one, this company did this mistake, and so on.
mhm,
So even the framework we did, we back it with the case study, with the real story, with numbers.
mhm. Now, as far as I understood, correct me if I'm wrong,
Yeah.
you've read a lot about
Hmm.
product development, UX, and UI, and so on and so forth. Now, I want to ask, in some industries, they have different schools of thought.
Yeah.
You have East versus West. Within the West themselves, they have, for
Mm.
example, British versus American, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Could you please talk more if there are any, let's say, product development
Mm.
schools of thought, if
Yeah.
there are any, and what are the main differences between these schools of thoughts?
Uh, I started my career from the product management school, I would say. I've never done, for example, agile or something like that. I've done, but I always believe in the product management school, the product school. If you go with it, for example, we don't deal with the Scrum. We deal with the EM, engineering manager,
Okay.
which is he plays the role of leading the tech, leading the needs of the tech, and so on.
Hmm.
There are so many frameworks: Scale, Agile, Scrum, like you name it.
Hmm.
But for each organization or company, however method or way of working you're gonna do, it will always depends in the people who's gonna work on it itself. If you're gonna bring the best agile coach, it's the people. Are you gonna do squad? Are you gonna do bot? Are you gonna do what
For
exactly?
me, so whether it's squat, but if you don't mind.
It's a squad, which means you're gonna bring team, like one product manager, one design, UX UI design, a product analytics, EM engineering manager, like the full gain
Okay.
for you to take care of a domain, for
Mm.
example.
Use it together.
Together, yeah.
Okay.
So they work together, they make their call, they make the decision, and so on.
Yeah, it's like their own department.
Yes, which is the best way for me, to be honest with you, to work. There are some people who use Path, for example. Like whenever there is guy free, we can put him to work in X. He got
Okay.
free, we put him in Y.
Okay.
But here we're building business, we're building products. We're not just getting things done.
Mm-hmm.
That's the issue.
Mhm.
That's how we work in USA, for example. That's how we work in Dubai. Even here in Saudi, for some company, we work as a squad.
Mm.
Because a squad, which means the North Star, the vision, the KPI is clear for the whole team. You are a product manager, you are a design, you are engineering manager, and so on. Your goal is to take this metrics from Y to Z, for example,
Mhm.
from 1 to 10. You get to make your call, you get to make your de- decision. You want to revamp everything, it's up to you. By the end of the quarter, we can see the numbers.
Mhm.
Of course, there is a daily meeting, weekly, monthly, and so on, but we're not getting into this operation.
Right.
Yeah. But how I see it's the company, the leadership, the mindset, the change management, what kind of digital transformation they have done, were they built as a product-led company, which the product will lead the business itself, or an operation-led company, or a logistic led company. So all of these are factor will impact the way of you building a product and so.
Okay. Now, what you mentioned now, kind of, kind of tapping more into the kind of schools of thought or different ways of doing things.
Yeah,
What you said at a certain point is that you have being effective versus being efficient.
yeah,
When you were in the US and in Dubai, it
yeah,
was more about being effective. When
yeah,
you first came here, it was more about being efficient. Let's get things done.
yeah.
Is it still the case, or has it like much improved since you came back from USA?
Actually, mashallah, people are becoming really mature, نضوج. People are getting really. People started to read, to be educated, and so on, which is great. And the market is getting tougher and tougher every single day. So, which means you don't want to just
Deliver any app.
yeah, just make it really in a good way. Let's take an example. You have haraj, you have a car car switch. You know
Mm,
this to app. Haraj is really simple, which been in the market for a long time now,
yes.
but it has its user. So I do not have to build a crazy UX, a pretty design, and so on. But car switch focuses more in the design, how you do it, how can you communicate with the seller and buyer, and so on. So they spend time in the UX, but they know they have to invest in the design itself because they can compete with Haraj, for example. This is just an example. But the issue is, should you just get things done? Yes, you could, which is for me, I think it's the best one because for you, you can iterate and you can enhance. But for you to get things done, you have to at least have done some of homework. Are you serving the market? Are you serving the customer? And so on.
Mhm.
So I think the mindset is there, and people started to be more aware. Like I don't want to just spend money or like lose my resource, my budget, just to get things done. I have to develop. I don't know if you remember we had this conversation. Minimum lovable product, minimum valuable
Mhm.
product. So for me, I always go with the minimum lovable product. You want to launch a product that will be loved by the market and the customer, rather than just launch whatever and you spend time and then for you have to reiterate and so on.
Mhm. Now, you just mentioned, going back to the example that you mentioned,
Yeah,
Haraj versus car switch.
car switch.
Now go now kind of let's say let's go a bit when it comes to design, when it comes to the
Yeah,
product itself. Now, as you mentioned, a lot of let's say schools of thought, they say it's
yeah,
about the engagement, the interactivity
yeah,
with the consumer, the colorful idea.
mm,
But again, if it takes like more than X clicks to reach to do a certain function, that means that this experience is not the best.
yeah,
While at the same time, as long as it is simplistic,
mm,
very simplistic, doesn't need to be colorful, doesn't need to be engaging, as long as as it does its function the
yeah,
best way possible in the minimum time possible. That means you have done the job and you've done amazing. So tell me more about. I'm not sure in the book have you if you mentioned that or not. The idea of simplicity versus engagement and maybe sometimes innovation when it comes
yeah,
to uh, digital products, please.
yes. So For example, we've talked about in the book about the growth. How can you do the growth model, the growth funnel, and so on. I was building a, was working with the designer, and we were building a onboarding journey.
Onboarding
Onboarding journey, like
for
when
new
it,
employees. Okay.
no, no, onboarding journey, like whenever you open an app,
Ah,
it will take you to onboarding. What is this app? Tell us about yourself. Login, blah blah.
OTP. How?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So the designer, he is so creative guy. My gosh, that guy is great.
Okay.
So when he did the onboarding, he literally to choose your interest. Okay, I'm interested in coffee, for example, in tea, for example, in mojito, water, whatever.
Mhm.
And of course, that app has its own category.
Okay.
Okay, so the designer, he want to make it really a simple one.
Mhm.
So what he did for each category, he built a screen to make it simple,
Mhm.
right? So when we saw the design, the customer has to go through 8 page or 8 screen or 7 screen just to choose the interest he likes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Uh,
When I talked to the guy, I told him, so you want to take the customer into 7 screen just to know what he wants. Let's assume coffee or tea or drink, whatever. I told him, why not we use the TikTok experience, for example,
Okay.
the bubble one.
Mhm.
And of course, we discussed with the team, and a lady from the team, she mentioned we need to do this kind of experience, the bubble one, which is rather than having 7 screen, she's so creative, to be honest, having 7 screen in one screen.
Okay.
Use the bubble experience. I like this one, you just pick. So
Okay.
we reduce 7 screen into one screen.
Mhm. Okay.
You got it?
Yeah.
So
That's
that's you reduce the customer for the score.
amazing.
Right.
And due to time constraint, I'm just
Yeah.
gonna, let's say, have this one last question. A
Yes.
kind of a, it's kind of a reiteration for what you said before.
Yeah.
I'd just like to have the last comment on that. So in a nutshell, one way or the
Yeah.
other, there's no such a thing as a perfect product, but it's just a kind of a moments of improvement through milestones
Yes.
that you continue. And I believe you mentioned in your book one way or the other
Yes.
that this is where you want to get to it.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
Do you want to add any more to that, or any advice, or any possible reference for people who are listening that go back to when it comes to UX UI experiences or product development?
What I say, like uh, a perfection of a product or perfection of us, at least there is always a stage you will reach, and then you need to go to the next.
Hmm.
A simple example: if you look at the user funnel journey, there is the setup, the sign up, the aha moment, and then the habit. You, if you were talking about the product itself, you need to keep the customer in the habit, because after habit, either they're gonna come to you as always as a loyal to your product, or they're gonna become a dormant,
Hmm.
or they're gonna become a churn.
Hmm.
So for you to reach that perfection or that perfect time for your product, keep the customer in the habit.
Hmm.
And it's some company who develop another habit after another habit after another habit, just to be more perfect in the market. An example, we have Airbnb.
Hmm.
They used to be where you can book it once a year or twice a year for vacationing, whatever. And then they develop Airbnb experience where you can go have fun in the weekend.
Hmm.
So they develop another perfect feature, I would call it.
Thank you very much. In
Yes.
20, 30 seconds, are there any specific references that you want to recommend for people to know more about digital product development, or certain kind of references or books other than yourself, of course?
Yes, thanks. There are a lot actually. There is Inspire. It's a good one. Uh, Reforge. Consider, I told you, I think
Mhm.
before, Reforge consider one of the best platform for people to know what is product, how can they build it. Talks about growth, product management, and so on. There are a bunch of books, of course, you can read. Product school, they have really good coherent classes, and so on.
Mhm.
And of course, there is a Saudi product community, which
Mhm.
is here in Saudi. I think they're really the largest community here in
Mm.
Saudi, and of course your interaction in the what is it?
Icona?
The Icona, yes.
Icona thing.
You do it always, I think, yeah. One of the thing, yeah.
No worries. Mr. Abdullah, thank you very much for your time, and thank you so much for being here.